Hello guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be discussing a new trade between the Edmonton Oilers and the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, a big trade has just happened between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers, so what are the trade details on this trade and which team won this trade? Watch till the end to find out. Now, when it comes to the trade details of this trade between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers, it is quite simple. Now, for the Philadelphia Flyers, they end up acquiring Cam Talbot from the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for Anthony Stolarz. And I know what you may be thinking. Yes, this trade is 1-for-1. Now, of course, with this trade, it is a 1-for-1 for goaltenders, Anthony Stolarz being the younger guy, Cam Talbot bringing the more veteran presence, but it seems that it might fill both teams' needs, and especially for the Philadelphia Flyers, Cam Talbot is almost a perfect fit. Now, with Cam Talbot, he is a 31-year-old goaltender. He is at a $4.16 million deal until after this season, being a UFA after this season, but this season has not gone great for Cam Talbot or the Edmonton Oilers, but especially for Cam Talbot, it has not been good enough, at least when it comes to years past. Now, so far this season with the Edmonton Oilers, he has not played well whatsoever, playing 31 games, getting a 3.36 goals against average with a .893 save percentage. And when you look at where Cam Talbot was 2 years ago, being in the Vezina Trophy conversation, playing over 70 games, leading the Edmonton Oilers to the playoffs, it's astounding the fall from grace that Cam Talbot had. And Cam Talbot, in my eyes, is still one of my favorite goaltenders in the league. I love him to pieces. He has a great style that I think really meshes well, but in the last couple of years, it has not worked out, especially with the Edmonton Oilers. Their defense has kind of crippled at points, and a lot of that has to do with Cam Talbot and Edmonton overplaying him quite a bit, especially in the season where he played over 70 games, which is absolutely ridiculous. But for the Edmonton Oilers, I feel like Cam Talbot still has talent, and he'll likely show that in Philadelphia. Now, when it comes to Anthony Stolarz, of course, he goes to the Edmonton Oilers, is likely going to be the backup to Mikko Koskinen. Now, when it comes to Stolarz so far this season, he's played 12 games, but he's done that basically out of necessity because of the Philadelphia Flyers goaltending situation. Now, again, he is a 25-year-old goaltender. He is making $761K until the end of the season. After the season, he is a UFA, but this season in the NHL, it has been okay for him, but not really too great. He has played 12 games, getting a 3.33 goals against average with a .902 save percentage. So it's not bad, it's not terrible, but it's not fantastic. And for the Edmonton Oilers, that is a pretty small sample size, but they do get the younger goaltender here and a guy that could maybe shape up as a potential starter in the future. Now, this trade was almost one that Edmonton needed to make. With Andrej Sekera, he was on the IR and then needed to be sent down to the AHL for a conditioning stint. But when it came to Edmonton's cap situation, they straight couldn't afford Andrej Sekera, and they needed to trade a guy away or get rid of a guy to be able to compensate for Andrej Sekera. Now, he's come up and will make his debut in the next couple of days. But now, because of this trade, Andrej Sekera was able to be brought up and is now being able to play on the NHL roster, which is something that with Cam Talbot, Edmonton was straight not able to do. But for the Philadelphia Flyers, they kind of reap the rewards of the Edmonton Oilers kind of having to shuffle him out. When it comes to Cam Talbot, of course, he's had some great seasons in the past, and just 2 years ago, he was one of the elite goaltenders in the NHL, and that's something that while Carter Hart has played well, that is something that the Philadelphia Flyers desperately need. And while Cam Talbot, I don't think is going to be the savior by any means, he can be a pretty solid starter if he needs to be, and for the Philadelphia Flyers, they have a pretty decent defensive core that could shape around him a lot better than the Edmonton Oilers defensive core, and right now for Cam Talbot, I think that's just what he needs. A change of scenery and a better defense around him, which, let's be honest, Edmonton was just not giving him. Now, for the Philadelphia Flyers, they do end up taking a lot of cap in with this trade, which is something to take notice with. With Philadelphia, they might not have as much flexibility to take on some bad contracts at the trade deadline. That might be something that they are having to restrain from now. With Cam Talbot, he is a guy that is older. That is a good thing, but it also is a bad thing when it comes to the long-term flexibility of Cam Talbot. But it also means that he has some playoff experience that he can bring onto a guy like Carter Hart to mentor him, to really bring that in. And a guy like Anthony Stolarz was never going to give that to a guy like Carter Hart, but a guy like Cam Talbot can bring that leadership in, and while he might not be as good as he was 2 years ago, he can teach Carter Hart to be that good, and I think that's what Philadelphia ultimately needs. Now, when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers and their side of things with this trade, I could see how this might benefit Edmonton in certain directions. This is also one of those one-for-one trades that I think Edmonton will just get kind of squared out of. And when it comes to this trade, I think Anthony Stolarz has potential in the NHL to maybe be a decent backup, but I don't think he's going to be much more than that. Again, he's 25. He's pretty much at the end of the road when it comes to his development, and he hasn't played that much in the NHL so far. So for me, I'm not really sure how much they would really get back for a guy like that. And I feel like Cam Talbot still had value out in the market. He could have maybe gotten a few draft picks, maybe a couple, maybe even a third-round pick, maybe even a second-round pick. But Anthony Stolarz, it just screams to me just a desperate move. And while, yes, they do get rid of cap here, I just feel like the value they're taking in is just really not enough. Now, of course, this is the part of the video where I ask which team won this trade, and for me personally, I have to go with the Philadelphia Flyers here. While I can see how Edmonton might get away with it a little bit here, they get a little bit of cap space away, they get a little bit more of a younger goaltender. For me, I think this will just benefit Philadelphia in a lot of different ways. Cam Talbot, I think, is the better goaltender right now. He can be a lot better on Philadelphia. He could have a good rebound second half. He could also bring a lot of mentorship to Carter Hart, and while he does bring in a lot of cap, that is cap that Philadelphia can afford right now. But for me personally, I have a lot of hopes that Cam Talbot would do a lot better for the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, I don't think there is a gigantic difference when it comes to the defense cores for Edmonton and Philadelphia. I feel like with Philadelphia, they have a lot of younger guys that also are just a lot better than Edmonton as a whole. And with Cam Talbot, I feel like, especially these past couple of seasons, he has needed a change of scenery, and a change of scenery from the franchise that has just pretty much disowned him and has overplayed him night after night. And for me, I feel like having that breath of fresh air, going to that new team, and of course getting the chance to mentor a guy like Carter Hart will do a lot for Cam Talbot and his career. And while he isn't young by any means, he still has a decent chunk of time left in the NHL, at least I believe, and he'll definitely use that with the Philadelphia Flyers. Meanwhile, for Anthony Stolarz, I think he can carve out a pretty solid career for the Edmonton Oilers. Again, he is still 25. He has a lot of years ahead of him in the AHL/the NHL, but I feel like in the NHL, he'll get quite a lot of chances with the Edmonton Oilers to be their backup, maybe even their starter for a couple of years. But I feel like right now, Stolarz is just, he's a decent goaltender, but I just don't see him being that starter for Edmonton that they might want to get back from this trade. But I feel like with Edmonton, of course, they got the cap space now, they got that flexibility, which I think is what this trade is all about. But for me, again, I have to pick Philadelphia to win this trade. I am a big fan of Cam Talbot, and with Philadelphia Flyers, it seemed like they take advantage of a little bit of a vulnerable spot for the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers having to make a move like that to get rid of cap space. But even though it was a move that Edmonton needed to make, it still was not the correct one. And I feel like giving a guy up like Cam Talbot, who still has quite a bit to give, while he might not have done too much in Edmonton, I still think he was a pretty valuable piece. And only getting a guy like Anthony Stolarz back is pretty disappointing, but I feel like for the Philadelphia Flyers, they will reap the rewards of this, and hopefully he does quite well with the Flyers. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about this trade? What are your initial thoughts? What do you think about Cam Talbot going to the Philadelphia Flyers? What do you think about Stolarz going to the Edmonton Oilers? And of course, with this trade, who do you think won? Did the Edmonton Oilers win, or did the Philadelphia Flyers win this trade? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about Mark Stone and 5 potential destinations that he might get traded to. But that is going for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on this trade and which team won it. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.